So nowadays, most companies in the world choose profit over the environment. Well, Patagonia goes against this perspective. And since 1985, they have donated over $250 million to different activist groups and nonprofit organizations that aim to help the environment. Hi, my name is Daniel Bonneau. This is my partner, Clarissa Jones, and today we'll be talking to you about the company Patagonia. We'll be talking about their history, we'll be talking about their work environment, and then we'll be talking about a current project they are working on. We hope after the presentation you will understand how profit did not justify the means of destruction of the environment. Okay, so talking about the history, the founder is Yvon Chouinard. He was born in 1938. He moved to California in 1945, and at the age of 14, he became a climber. And sooner or later, he self-taught himself to do blacksmithing. So in 1957, he started making his own pitons. Pitons are a climbing tool that you wedge into the mountain for you to keep on going up. And so at first, profit was low. He didn't sell that much. He was just selling in the back of his car. But then when he partnered with Tom Frost in 1965, it went skyrocketing, all the climbing tools, that they couldn't keep up, and that they would purchase more machinery and hire more people. And by the 1970s, they just became the largest supplier of climbing hardware. Soon after that, in 1972, they took a big business step. They actually got rid of pitons because they figured out it was an environmental hazard. But at that same year, they were able to develop a new piton that was actually environmentally safe. And so that product also went out of stock right away. So in the same year, 1972, they started their own clothing business. Most of it was imported from different countries. And so from there, from 1972 all the way to the 1990s, they were focused on clothing, on climbing tools, but they also moved into other silent sports such as snowboarding, skiing, surfing, all those sports. But in 1991, unfortunately, they hit a recession, and they had to cut costs, dump inventory, and laid off 20% of their workforce. So now I'll give this presentation to Clarissa Jones, which will tell you how they are right now.
Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how Patagonia's positive work environment has contributed to their success today. So like Daniel said, there was a recession in 91, but today they have over 1,000 employees bringing in $540 million in annual revenue. With that, they contribute 1% of their sales to grassroots organizations. So the employee benefits are really great. There's on-site child care. They have healthy subsidized lunches that they eat together every day in order to build a community, so they work together. Not only are employees allowed to participate in activity during the day, but they're encouraged to do something active like running, cycling, or surfing, whatever they desire. Patagonia knows that, or they value their consumers and what their consumers think of the company. Sorry, I forgot to change that. But they value their consumers, and they know that they're willing to pay more for a product that doesn't negatively impact the environment as much. So they're very transparent. For example, there was a case where it was brought to their attention that they potentially were live plucking the geese for down feather. But it turns out, so they went to investigate, and it turns out they weren't doing that, but they were being force-fed foie gras. So they were upfront about it instead of trying to cover it up or spin it. They're upfront about it, and so they think it's important to set an example by being honest with their consumers. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about their current project that is in Patagonia, Chile, outside of the company. But the former CEO, Chris Tompkins, founded Conservación Patagónica in 2000, which its mission is to restore and save wildlife and wildland. So currently they're working on making Patagonia National Park, which was opened in October of 2014 to be a private park, but it's underway to become a national park. It will just take a few years. And so the mission of that is to establish new protected land, recover imperiled species, and implement organic agriculture. And so they have a lot of work to do because the land was for sheep and cattle herding, and now that took a heavy toll. And so employees from Patagonia are going over and working on it with, along with others. So Daniel's going to conclude the presentation for you guys.
Okay, so to conclude, we talked about Patagonia's history, how a 14-year-old climber self-taught blacksmithing, and then he became the #1 producer in the United States. Then we talked about how they are currently right now, how they have over 1,000 employees, they have $540 million in revenue, and they give 1% of that to the environment. And then we just talked about current project they're working on, the new park in Patagonia, Chile, that is supposed to preserve wildlife and wildland. And so thank you for listening, and please do not hesitate to ask us any questions.